Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm Nicole with the Bushel and Designs. Today we are working on this really pretty mama tumbler. It is a 40-ounce handled tumbler. The tumbler I did get from AB Designs Co. I believe they are sold out at the moment, but there is several other suppliers that sell these wonderful handled tumblers, and they come in an array of colors now. It doesn't come with the handle attached, so the first thing I did was spray paint it in a teal color, and then I glittered it with eye candy from Diamonds and Dust, and then I gave it 2 thin coats of epoxy until it was smooth. And then once that was smooth, I added the Mama vinyl from Removable Vinyl, and then on top of that I sprayed it with Washington from Iron Lac. Once that was dry, I sprayed it with Smolder, which is the white color, and then I let that dry and gave it just a sprinkling of Ogre, also from Iron Lac. I get all my Iron Lac from Hobby Lobby. I love this spray paint. And then once that was dry, I went in with a paper towel and some acetone, and I am just wiping away some distress spots. It will look a little cloudy in some of these areas at first, and that's fine. We will be removing that cloudiness look, but I just want to establish some spots to really gauge how big and how small and where I want these spots to be. I don't want it to take over the tumbler, but I just want them to be noticeable at the same time. And then I will do some around the Mama wording just to make it blend. So again, that Mama word is not just floating there. It looks like it's on top of the distressing. The reason I spray paint the gray first is because then it really gives you that dimension where, as you can see here on the edges, you can see the gray. You could choose to do any color. You could do it black if you wanted a little bit harsher colors. You could do a teal or a lavender or any color that's in a contrast to the white on top. After I was happy with all of the spots, I'm then going to take 91% rubbing alcohol, spray it on a paper towel, and wipe away where you can see all that cloudiness. And then I will, on the same paper towel, take a little pump of the acetone and rub it through just the exposed teal portions to help get away that cloudiness. When I started this tumbler, I knew that I wanted it to have a really girly mama feel to it. So I knew I wanted to add some flowers. So I pulled out some partial sheets that I had. These are all from AB Designs Co. They are a full sheet that you get of flowers, and I order mine all white backed, as I always tell you, because that is my favorite, because then you can use them on any surface, any color background, and they really stand out. So the ones here that I was just showing you had a little bit more lavender in it. These have a little bit more teal. So I decided to just kind of go with what I felt looked good in certain spots. So I just was kind of playing with the design idea until I am ready to apply those. In the meantime, we are going to remove all of that Mama removable vinyl. After that, before I give it a coat of epoxy, I am going to add the outline that I created for the mama, and all I did was on the original mama, I created an offset and cut it out with the center still applied so that it would just create the outline. I didn't record it. I'm so sorry. If you need more detail on that, let me know. I can definitely do a video on that. But I just applied them one letter at a time. Words are hard today, y'all. So I applied them one letter at a time just to make sure that I can line them up. It's a lighter opaly vinyl, so I wanted to make sure that it was easy to see what I was doing. So I thought I would not take any chances and I would line them up one letter at a time. So after that, I did apply one coat of epoxy before we are going to apply the flowers. And let me just note right now that I totally screwed up. I did not tape off where my handle goes, so it was a pain to put the handle back on. I had to heat it and cut it away. It was a nightmare. I definitely did not record that because I was mad at myself and it was the complete struggle bus. But in the meantime, I decided I wanted something a little bit more. Besides the flowers, I wanted to zhuzh it up a little bit, let's say. So, of course, my go-to is leopard spots. So in the same vinyl that I did the offset for Mama in, I added these leopard spots. It's so pretty and it really tied in the teal with the flowers. It was like the perfect addition. So I added those and then I gave it a coat of epoxy. This vinyl is from Hobby Lobby. I don't remember what it's called, but it's like an opaly color and it's got like lavender and blue color shifts. It's so pretty. I need to start buying it by like the bulk. They sell it in individual sheets, but also by the roll. So I just need to keep it on hand because I do tend to go to it quite often when I want this kind of look. So I just added random spots of leopard print, and my little reasoning or my thinking behind adding spots is kind of the same element in like decorating, they say, or like back when I was doing scrapbooking, is never leave it in an even number. So if you add one spot, that's fine, but don't leave it at 2. Make sure you add 3. So my mind always thinks it needs to be an odd number to just balance it out. So I don't know if that will help you in any way, but that's just kind of how my brain thinks. So I just added some random spots. I didn't want to fill up the tumbler and I really didn't want to take away from the design. I more just wanted to add it as more of like a background element behind the flowers. Here I took a spot and I cut it so it had a straight line, and then I'm just playing with it because I want it to look like it falls behind the mama word. Again, it just, that way it doesn't seem like it's floating there, like some of the spots are commingled with the main saying of this tumbler. I hope that makes sense, but it just kind of grounds it more, I guess you could say. And then here, because it was on the corner and it overlapped 2 spots, I just laid it down and then trimmed it off where that original mama was. As you can tell, I did not put a coat of epoxy on yet, like I had mentioned earlier. I actually added all of these vinyl elements before I did that. So after I added all of the outlining on mama and these leopard spots, then I added a coat of epoxy because for the flowers, because it's a clear element, we want to make sure it's on a clear, soft, smooth, glossy surface. So you want to always make sure you add those on a coat of epoxy surface. And here I am just playing with the different flowers. I took each element and I trimmed it. I like to trim it as close to the image as possible. It just leaves less surface to get a fingerprint on or anything like that. So I try to trim it as close as I can. And then honestly, when I add flowers like this, I don't really have a specific game plan, like this one has to go here, this one has to go there. I kind of just, when it's time to add the flowers, I just pick up each one and kind of play with it in where I'm going to put it to just see what feels right. And then if I like it, I lay it down. And I just cut back a little of the backing, lay it down, and then pull off the rest of the backing. I try very hard not to get my fingerprints on it because time and time again, I have touched it, got a fingerprint, and then you can see it. So we don't want that. And I absolutely love the way these leopard spots match these flowers so well. It just ties it all together, I feel like. On this flower, I did have just half a sheet or half of a flower left, so I thought it was perfect to go right here up against the M. It was like it was meant to go there. And then I just continued to add some flowers, some on top of those leopard prints, so it just looked like it was, as I said, in the background of this design. And then I just continued all around until I was happy with the amount of flowers and some leaves too. I thought the leaves were so pretty. I love this watercolory look. I love this flower sheet from AB Designs Co. It is so pretty. It's one of my favorites. As you can see here, I applied this flower over the little lip or the edge, the curve on the tumbler, and I didn't want my element to wrinkle, so I'm just cutting some lines in it. And once I lay them all down flat, you really can't tell that you cut a line in it. Some designs you would definitely be able to tell, but this one with the flower, it kind of blended in, so it really wasn't that noticeable. I just cut some lines to help it lay down flat so that we didn't get any bumps in our epoxy. Once I was happy with the placement of all the leaves and flowers, I gave it 2 final coats of epoxy, and then I struggle bust it to add that handle. Like I said, I spare you all the details of that torturous event, and I learned my lesson not to forget that. And actually, I've been epoxying over some of the handles now, and I really like that look too, so we will learn from our mistakes and move past this. But after that, this beauty was all done. As you can see in this final coat, final photo, I did give the handle a coat of epoxy as well, just to make sure it was secure on there, because I wasn't so sure once I struggled to get it on. But I hope that I have inspired you in one way or another, and I will leave all the details down in the description box where you can find me and all the products that I used, and I will be back on Saturday for another tutorial. Bye y'all, see you then.